Hi, I'm Sifu Nick, and welcome to my studio here in Phoenix. And welcome to the comprehensive Wing Chun wooden dummy video series. In this series, we're going to cover the entire dummy form, as well as drills and fighting applications. So make sure that you're subscribed to this channel so that you don't miss any of the future installments. Happy training.
We'll begin this adventure by looking at some of the form components, so that as we get to the sequence, everything will go much smoother. Starting with feet together, then we'll bend the knees, turn the toes out, followed by the heels. Notice that the toes remain pointing in slightly and the knees are bent. From the front, it would look like this. What you can't see is that the tailbone is getting set rolled under right here at the end. And I'll show this from the side just so that you get the full picture. Again, the tailbone is being rolled under, set into our C-spine. Beginning first by setting up our training stance. Then we're going to shift the weight to the right and turn out the left toe. Now in Chun stance. And we can shift back to our training stance and then go to the right. We should also work on shifting all the way from one side to the other. Notice how the knee tracks forward before the hips turn. Our Seep-Ma stepping will get us from standing in front of the dummy over to one side. From our left Chun stance, we're going to step out and then around so that we're now in our right Chun stance with the right leg behind the leg of the dummy. Let's try the other side and go into our training stance first, then our Chun stance, step out, then around, and we're into our left Chun stance. It's also very good practice to work going from Seep-Ma on one side directly to the other. Next, we'll be looking at components of the handwork, starting with Zhang Sao. Zhang Sao is a basic guard position with the hands. You'll notice that the lead hand hovers between the arms without touching them. Both hands are on the center line. The rear hand is a little bit lower than the lead and is extended near the vicinity of the elbow. This would be considered left Zhang Sao, as the left hand is in the lead. Only the very first section will start with left Zhang Sao. All the other sections will begin in right Zhang Sao with the right hand in the lead. Gan Sao, or slicing hand, uses the pinky side of the forearms to make contact with the opponent's arms. Here's an example of both the high and low Gan Sao used simultaneously. You'll see this repeatedly throughout the form. You would need to be comfortable cycling from one side of the dummy to the other using your Gan Sao. Notice how the upper hand will fold inside of the lower as you switch. Also notice the shifting of the body from one Chun stance to another, unified with the handwork. Quan Sao combines a Tan Sao and a Low Bong Sao. The Tan Sao, or palm up hand, goes to the inside of the upper arm of the dummy, while the Low Bong Sao goes to the lower arm. When cycling, the lower arm will fold up inside the upper. Your Quan Sao should have a forward jamming energy to it, unlike the Gan Sao, which was more just the lateral shearing. The closeout is a series of movements that you will close out every section of the form with. As with all the other components that we've covered, practicing this in isolation will make all of the rest of the form go much easier. Beginning in a left Chun stance, and both hands in Gan Sao, the high hand is going to hewn inside as the low hand comes around to change up to a high Gan Sao. Now the left hand is going to jut as the right hand strikes towards the head of the dummy. Now double jut sao, followed by double tok sao, then settling into jong sao. And we'll also do this on the other side. It will be a mirror image, except that when we get to the strike, we'll be striking low. So we're at double gan sao. High hand hewns inside as the low hand comes around the outside to do a high gan sao. Now the right side juts as the left hand strikes forward, striking the body. And we go to our double jut sao and the double tok sao. And then settling into jong sao. Now the same with a little more speed. Gan sao, hewn and gan, jut and strike, double jut, double tok, jong sao. Gan sao, hewn and gan, jut and strike, double jut, double tok, jong sao. Now that you have some of the components down, let's get into the form proper, starting with section 1. Starting in front of the dummy with the feet together, we're going to bend the knees, chambering the fists, and set up our training stance. Then we're going to verify our distance to the dummy, make sure we're not too close, not too far away, and then to jong sao. Now sink the body before rising back up with man sao. Next, the right hand will reach through the arms to grab the back of the neck, and then both hands will pull as you turn and sink into your Chun stance. Now right hand bong saos before our seat ma footwork carries us around to the side of the dummy while we tan and strike. Right foot circles in front of the leg as you gan sao, then shuffle step to quan sao. Seat ma stepping around to the side as you tan and strike. Gan sao to the closeout. The form now repeats in the mirror image on the other side, with one exception at the very end. Sink, then rise with man sao. Reach to grab the neck, turn and sink. Left hand then bongs. Seat ma stepping to tan and strike. Left foot circles as gan sao. Then shuffle step to quan sao. Seat ma stepping to tan and strike. Step around, gan, and the closeout. As you become comfortable with the form, sequence, and alignments, slowly add speed. Eventually you can even add some self-expression, but don't get sloppy. Thanks for exploring this section of the wooden dummy with me. In our next video, we're going to be looking at fighting applications from the first section of the form. So click subscribe so that you get instant notification whenever a new video is posted in this series. Happy training!